When your team publishes an MCP server, you're not just building a technical integration, you're building a new API surface for agents. The problem is that an agent does not read the surface like a developer. It sees tool names, descriptions, parameters, and error messages. From those, it decides what to do next. If this surface is messy, it does not create a small documentation error. It creates tool chaos. The outcome of this video is a simple mindset. Treat an official MCP server like an API product with QA, versioning, abuse detection, and clear ownership. Why does this matter now? MCP is designed as an open standard for connecting AI applications with external systems, data sources, tools, and workflows. That makes the MCP server a product's front door. If a payments, calendar, database, or developer portal becomes accessible through it, one question is no longer enough. Is the user authorized? The better question is, what can the agent actually see and do afterward? The first mistake is an overly broad tool surface. Many teams think we have an existing API, so we should expose as much of it as possible through MCP. That is dangerous for agents. A good tool is not just an endpoint. It is an intentional action with a clear description, narrow parameters, predictable errors, and visible limits. Reading, validating, creating, deleting, and triggering should not blur into one universal tool. The second mistake is missing validation. An MCP server needs fixed schemas for inputs and outputs. If a tool checks a wallet integration, for example, it must clearly state which fields are expected, which errors are returned, and which action must never happen automatically. Agents work better when the surface is deterministic. It is the same reason productive agent workflows become more stable with explicit state, tests, and checkpoints than with chat histories alone. The third mistake is missing abuse detection. Tool abuse does not only mean a malicious attack, it can also mean an agent repeating the same write operation 5 times, querying overly broad data, or inferring a risky action from an unclear user request. That is why an MCP server needs an audit log. Which tools were called, with which parameters, in which context, and with what result. Without that trail, nobody can properly debug whether the failure was in the model, the tool design, or the authorization logic. The fourth point is versioning. Traditional APIs have versioning policies, deprecation notices, and regression tests. MCP servers need them too. If a parameter changes, a tool is renamed, or a description becomes more precise, agent behavior changes. That is not merely a documentation change. It can determine whether an agent selects a tool correctly or goes completely off track. Then comes the scanner question: who checks this continuously? Not the intern shortly before release, not a one-time security review. A scanner in the CI pipeline and in production makes sense. It should check tool descriptions, schemas, permissions, risky action names, overly broad data access, and suspicious call patterns. Our WASP material on secure MCP development and new community scanners point in exactly this direction. The discussion is shifting from OAuth alone toward product quality and operational security. The practical checklist is simple. First, keep the tool surface small. Second, validate schemas strictly. Third, separate risky actions. Fourth, make every tool call auditable. Fifth, treat specification changes like API releases. 6. Operate a scanner with clear ownership. The most important takeaway: MCP makes integrations readable by agents. But agent readable does not automatically mean agent safe, stable, or production grade. If your company ships an official MCP server, it needs the same level of seriousness as a public API, just with more focus on tool selection, context, and behavior. Save this video, so you do not forget it.